I'm looking at a room of cheerleaders for PottsTOWN. I see so many different groups that are trying, putting their heart into their belief that PottsTOWN is a great place. It can be better, but we are great. We have so many good things here in PottsTOWN to celebrate. Just as Marie was saying, we just have to get up off our butts to some who have not done it yet. I say all the time to my husband, we can travel, we can go to different towns. We seek out things like that are happening here in PottsTOWN. If people would just realize what is already going on. The concerts in the park, the farm, Parks and Rec, what the Hill School is doing, what our school district is involved in. The PEAK program has been reaching out for over 10 years to 3- and 4-year-olds in our community. The PEAK Counts program is free. The library is free. There are so many things that are free. We do hear, though, about the barriers with transportation and the lack of how do we communicate this all out. The school district is working on that. We are also having, through the PEAK program, on August 8th, anyone who has a calendar, who is working on websites, we're hosting a meeting at the administration building. We're trying to get this online. We're trying to get an app where some kind of program where it makes it easier for people to find out what's going on. So we're going to start having, I know individual factions have been talking about it. We're trying to bring them all together, and let's see if we can get that happening. Community conversations, the school district's been doing that for over 2 years now.
Thank you.
Do we get a lot of engagement? No, we can't break 24 coming out to each one of these sessions. The school district wants to hear what you're saying. We're going to have conversations coming up in November at the elementary schools. We hope that you all come out. You don't need to have children in the elementary schools, but if you have a voice, we need to hear what you want, and good things have come out of it. I see our FA Family Advisory Committee people are here. All the things that we're talking about, things are being done. We just need to come together on it. Operation Inspiration, been a strong supporter. I'm glad to see so many people in the room that are doing this, and I agree with them. Just get off your butt and be a part of it.
Ms. McCoy.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Danielle McCoy, principal of the high school, and that's not why I'm here. I'm here because I'm a lifelong member of PottsTOWN. I grew up in the number streets. I went to Lincoln. I went through what was the intermediate, the junior high, and more importantly, to me, I sent my own children here. When the time came, we considered the Hill School, and we didn't do it. And my children are now 30, 29, 27, and 21, and they are ever so grateful they went to school here. We're really a very unique bubble at PottsTOWN High School. We started this talking about racial strife, and while that's going on, it doesn't really go on in our high school. We have other issues and other problems, and that's not one of them. And we are so lucky for that. Our kids will fight over, you look at my boyfriend, but they don't fight over that. And I'm the principal of the high school because I want to be in PottsTOWN. I could go somewhere else, and I don't. I love our kids, and I want all of you to love our kids. I have hired countless people from town to work with our kids. Jamie is one of them. I love having Jamie. I've begged John Foster, and he's accommodated me very graciously to come in and talk about the civil rights movement and what that was like for him. And I welcome all of you. We can't get people involved. Carla's another one. I went to school. I mean, we love our town, and we stay here, and I put my money where my mouth is, where my money matters the most to me, and that was my own children. They're not in town now, but they love coming back to town. They work elsewhere. They pretty much stayed where they went to college, and that was because of job opportunities. But they're very proud of where they come from, and our kids are proud. We try to make them proud of where they come from, but they hear all of this chatter that's going on in here, and that's not what it's like in there. It's a wonderful place to be, and I invite all of you to come there. All of you. John's sister works there too. I love our high school. Kelly, you can hear it. She loves our elementary schools. You need to come and you need to work with our kids But you can't come one time and leave. You need to be invested. They need mentors. They need mentors. They don't always have a typical family unit at home. Very often it's the father who's not there, and our young black boys need black adult mentors, and they need them to come regularly. And that's why John and Jamie it's so valuable to our school. And if you have the time for that, and it's hard to find the time because we're all raising our own families and all doing our own, you're not all as lucky as I am to get to do what you love and get to do this. But if you have it, you have the time, you have an idea, I listen. I listen to everything and we try to implement. So please call me. The phone number is right there. Just give me a call.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeff Sparagana, and I don't live in PottsTOWN. I've worked here for 23 years up until June 29th, at which time I retired as superintendent. Over the period of time that I've worked in the community, did a lot of different jobs. Changed jobs 11 times in 23 years. So I was never bored, to say the least. But I retired and I don't live here, and I came to this meeting tonight. So what does that tell you? I'm invested, and I care about what happens here. And I'll probably always be invested here, regardless of whether I work here or not. But a couple of people said earlier, well, so-and-so's not here and so-and-so's not. Who cares? The people that are here this evening are the impetus to start a movement in this community to move us all forward. You know, we don't need other people. But I would say this to you, the next meeting, bring somebody with you, and we'll double our attendance. That's a lot of responsibility to take. That's a lot of responsibility. Bring somebody with you, and then we'll double the attendance. But we've got to have a plan to look at the things that we want to change and develop some work groups to start to put some ideas together and put them into action. You lead by action. A lot of people like to complain. And I've noticed in the time that I've been here, a lot of people sit at home and complain about, here's how it used to be here, and we need to get it back to that point. It's never going to happen. We need to reinvent a new PottsTOWN, and that's the direction that we're all going to go together. So I congratulate every one of you for being here this evening, and I look forward to this work. I look forward to this work.
Good evening. I'm Sharon Thomas, I'm the mayor of PottsTOWN, and I'd like to have latitude to speak under any other hat that I have, okay? It'll be all right. Won't be a combination of church and state or any of that. But I'd like to say that on the point of social diversity, one of the things is being a better listener than a talker sometimes, especially when the differences are in your corner and you need an advantage from a different corner. So there has to be like a meeting of the minds, but in order for minds to meet, somebody has to be silent part of the time, and somebody else has to actively make a point. And before that point is ended, if the other person starts talking and is angry, there's usually not going to be a resolution, and you'll leave in the very same condition that you came. So I'm just saying that part of the solution into things is also realizing that there are some systemic things in people's heart that has to really be allowed to be put on the table before the solutions that are posed as ideas and theologies or theories will actually work. You know, everything sounds good up front. This is a wonderful forum, Emmanuel, thank you. Very progressive, forward-moving, and everyone in the community is ready for change, but some of the things that are systemic have to be dealt with. And I'd just like to talk about one of those things. When you go home, look up supportequityfirst.org. And this is one of the most pervasive snatch and grabs in education that has existed since 1991, that has produced the underfunding situations in our schools. Our school in particular is set to be underfunded by anywhere from 11 to 19 million. But I'm out there advocating for schools like Reading that are 95 million under budget. In 1991, a policy was put into place called Hold Harmless. Hold Harmless is equal. This year, there will be $400 million on the table, additional, for education funding. if it goes through equal, hold harmless, 320 overfunded districts will remain overfunded, and the potential for 185 underfunded districts to remain underfunded will continue. This is injustice at its best. This is not a near majority of our legislature. It's a near unanimous, and we're right in it. So some of the individuals that I'm working with are wondering why these districts aren't red hot about the underfunding, about the hold harmless policy. And Representative David Parker has come up with a formula that says on a 3-to-1 ratio that through a Commonwealth vote, the overfunded school districts would get the one portion. They wouldn't go without, they wouldn't be sacrificing, but those who are underfunded will be getting a lion's share distribution in a 3-to-1 ratio. This would stop the bleeding. This would allow underfunded districts, such as David Parker's district in particular, to go from $1,800 per student allotment from the state to $4,000. What could it do for PottsTOWN? What could it do for our property values? It could do a lot. It could do a lot. The hold harmless policy is sold to us silently and voted in near unanimously, and we haven't had our finger on it. But now our finger's on it. We know what's happening, so it's only up to us to push the envelope. And so I'm just letting you know, I've been at the mayor's conference. We've been talking about this. It's nothing nobody wants to touch because it's requiring people who are at an advantage to make a concession. But that's what it's all about, isn't it? You have an overfunded district just to remain overfunded while you see others going into very critical conditions of having to close. That's all I want to say right there. If you have any more questions, but support equityfirst.org. And tomorrow is National Night Out. There's one at Victory Christian Life Center in King of Washington. There's one at Chestnut.